Welcome everyone, welcome to our new edition. I am Diana Popa, business coach, and I would like to thank you for being with us on this journey. Today our special guest is Leah Miller. She is an intentional parenting leadership mentor. She has been teaching and mentoring parents and children for over 20 years. She has written a comprehensive educational curriculum for the Walder Educational Institute, appeared on PBS, and has been featured in Motherhood magazine, as well as various podcasts and summits. She has also written 2 children's books. She is the mother of a large family and has literally seen it all. She runs an active Facebook group, Power Parenting Moms, for like-minded moms, and helps parents step into intentional, powerful parenting leadership and communicate effectively so they can create calm and connected homes. Welcome, Leah. Thank you so much for being with me today.
It's so nice to be with you.
I would like to jump straight into our interview by asking you, what is your story and how did you start on this path?
Okay, so I am actually an only child. And when I was an only child, I dreamed of having a large family. And thank God I was able to have a large family myself. When I was little, I would read books about twins and Bobbsey twins and all of those, and it just looked so idyllic. And it was beautiful, but I realized very soon on that there's a lot more to parenting than what meets the eye. And at that time, I had many little children at home, and it was a challenge. And I looked for ways to become a more effective parent. And I started reading everything that I could about child development and everything anything about parenting. But it wasn't really until I came together with a group of women with like-minded parents in a parenting class that I really started to feel like, oh, other people are experiencing what I'm experiencing, and there are ways to effectively deal with having young children and being a good parent and being an effective parent. And I got very, very interested in the whole subject, and I eventually went to a institute to learn to be a parenting mentor, and I became a parenting mentor, and I guess that was the beginning of my story. I later went back to school, and I got a master's in education, and again, like I started mentoring parents, and I became a learning and a behavioral specialist, and I've been working with parents and children for over 20 years.
Thank you so much, Leah. I am lucky to have you here because I am not yet a mom, so I'm going to learn the good habits before becoming a mom. Thank you once again for being with me today. I would like to ask you, what are the rituals that we can apply to create that connection in our houses, to really feel like there is calm and peace everywhere, that children are not running wild? What can we do to create those rituals?
Okay, so first of all, there's routines and then there's rituals. Routines are really organizing our lives and our homes so that things aren't chaotic, that children know what's coming next, that they understand what's expected of them. And together with that is the rituals, is that as a family, we have to make a very definite time that the children look forward to, and that the whole family looks forward to, where we're spending real quality time. And I'm not talking just about reading a book together. I'm talking about maybe having a meal together once a week. I know that many parents are busy, but having those times where the kids know this is our family time is so important, and it builds connection, it builds bonding, it builds a family mission almost, that we know we're going to be together, that we believe in being together, that it's important to be together. And by doing that, we create a certain atmosphere, and it's something that ends up being with our children for the rest of their lives. But it has to be intentional, because unless it's intentional, this will come up and that will come up, and there will be many opportunities to miss it. So we have to be very intentional about creating those times when we are together. and also, I just wanted to mention that there was a study done that children that eat dinner together every night with their families are much more emotionally stronger than their counterparts. Now, I know that that's very difficult to get the family together every night, but there should be some intentional getting the family together at least once a week so that the children feel that bond.
That's amazing. That's impressive, actually. And I believe that not many of us are aware of that we really need to dedicate this time. I am reading a book actually called Outliers. And this was exactly the first chapter. They were talking about a small village in US where people were very connected. They were like all the time walking together, talking all the time, eating together, even big families living together. And this had a big impact on their well-being and their health. And I believe that nowadays we don't really pay attention to this, which is a pity. I would like to ask you, because you mentioned that we should really put an intention to be there, to be present, to dedicate this time. How can we do that? Because I know that parents are running wild, like trying to do their work, then taking care of their children. How can they really do that, set apart that time for their children?
So that's a really good question, because a lot of parents struggle with that, and it's a real struggle. And they really do want to be with their families, and yet their schedules are different. It's hard to pull everyone together. And again, I think it's just about being intentional. We have to realize what are our priorities. And there will always be another meeting. There'll always be more money to make. But we have a very small window of time when we can really influence our children. And if we don't grab a hold of that when they're young, we don't get it back. So it might seem that all these other things are very important, and they are. And I'm not saying that they aren't. And there are some times when we just have to be unavailable. But we do have to find, everyone has one time in their week where they can make some intentional time as a family. And if they don't, it becomes, our homes become motels. They're not real homes. So we have to realize that it may seem very long when our children are little, but in the scheme of things, it's not that long. And therefore, if we don't take advantage of it now, we never get that time back again.
I fully agree with you. Thank you, Leah. And this reminds me of my childhood and everything I lived myself. And something that is fascinating is that I learned that we need to be well with ourselves as parents before trying to grow up our children. And I wanted to ask you, for those who are not aware on what to do, how can our well-being as parents influence the emotional well-being of our children?
I think it's paramount, because we are the models for our children. We are the first models that our children model themselves after. I'm sure you've heard people say to parents, "Oh, she has the same movements as you. She looks so similar to you. She talks like you." Well, that is because we are the models for our children. So I totally agree. Not every parent is fully developed when they become parents, but they should make that a priority. If they're feeling that they need extra help, they need to get it, not only for themselves, but also for their children.
Do you have something from your experience when you saw parents who are overwhelmed or frustrated? Any technique that you applied with them so they get out of that state and become more calm and well with themselves, and then they impact their children? Is there a technique they can apply right away on the spot?
Well, of course, yes. There's many techniques. There's relaxation techniques. There's we do have to, obviously our children when they're young are our focus, but we do also have to take care of ourselves. And when I was the mother of a very young family, I had an older friend who also had a large family, and she told me that she used to take one day a week, one afternoon, and she would get a babysitter for that one afternoon, and that would be her one time where she could go out and she could do the things that she wanted to do. And it was something that she looked forward to every week, and it allowed her to come back in a more whole way for her own children. So I think every parent needs to know, what is that thing that they need? Do they need some quiet relaxation time every day? sometimes when children are playing on their own and we know that they're fine, we can take a few minutes to read a book or to just take care of what we need to do. And again, when we're whole, we are able to be there and to respond to our children in a more whole way. So yes, of course, routines, waking up a few minutes earlier than our children. I know that's hard, but having some people have a prayer ritual or a meditation ritual or something that, that focuses them in the mornings. Trying to really, sometimes we have to really schedule our time so that we do have that time for ourselves. I think it's great to get extra help. And again, a lot of people say they can't afford it, but again, everything is priorities. When we think about what's important and we say, okay, I need this help, I'm going to do without this in order to get this, well, that might be just the thing that they need to feel more balanced and to feel more whole. So I am a big proponent of getting some help, even if it's just a little bit a day, an hour a day. Again, being scheduled, planning out our days, trying to take away those things that are causing us anxiety, that are causing us overwhelm, and really being intentional about that. And again, like I said, it can be very different for many different people. Making sure that you get out every once in a while with your spouse is important, for you to just have your time with your spouse. There's so many things that go into having a healthy and a whole family, and I think it's a great question, because I do think we have to think about our own well-being and make sure that we're getting fed in order to be there for our children.
Absolutely. Thank you, Leah. And something that scares me personally when I think about parenting is what if they take the wrong path? What if maybe I'm not able to teach them the right things, so they really lead their life in a wealthy and healthy and well emotionally? What can we do then as parents if they don't take this right path, if they deviate, if they fall into bad habits? Is it a work that we have to do with ourselves? Is it something that we can do for them to put them on the right path? Because I know that we cannot force them. How do we do that?
Okay, so again, we never know how our children are going to come out, but there's a lot that we can do setting the foundation. And I think it's a lot of the things that we talked about, making these routines and rituals so our homes are not chaotic, making time for our children, letting them know that they're important. Contribution, I think it's very important for children to feel that they're contributing to the home. That builds connection, that builds a sense of competency. And communication is so important. I think that if we make the effort and we learn how to communicate with our children, that goes a long way to keeping them on the right track. And again, I think it's all about intentional parenting. It's about transferring our values. And again, we're modeling every day what we want our children to be. If we are happy and fulfilled with our lifestyle, and if we are transferring that to our children, why would they want to go somewhere else? Now, today there are tremendous influences that speak at every minute to our children, and that's why our voices have to be the loudest. And the way our voices are the loudest is the things that we've been talking about, making sure that we are whole and that we have the ability to give to our children, making sure that we do spend that quality time with our children, making sure that we're making time for them, making sure that we're communicating with them, we're showing them that they're an integral part of the family. All of those things give our children that strength to say, oh, my parents are living a great lifestyle. And yes, I have this pool for my friends. And yes, I think the teenage years are really that challenge. But again, the teenage years are dependent on the foundation that we've set in the younger years. So if we've transferred our values and we've been strong models, so even though our children may be influenced, temporarily by their friends, eventually they will come back to what they know is the right thing because they feel good about it. So that's our job as parents, to make sure that they're feeling good about being in our home, that they're that we've transferred our value, that we've made time for them, that they have these rituals that they will always come back to.
I love that. Thank you so much, Leah. And this is something that I feel like keeps coming back, in the sense of that we always need to start with ourselves, to be well with ourselves, and then everything is going to be impacted, whether it's children, whether it's career, business, everything else around is just falling into place. And this gives me some faith and confidence that I can do this. Thank you so much once again.
You can do it.
I would like to close our interview today by asking you, who are you serving and how can people contact you? You mentioned that you are working with parents. Is it internationally or is it only in the US? And how can people contact you?
Yes, thank you for asking. Yes, I work with parents internationally. I have a presence on Facebook. I have a group. It's a wonderful group of moms that want to be intentional parents, that want to be better parents. A lot of my moms are mompreneurs and busy moms. So I have a group and it's called Power Parenting Moms on Facebook. It's a group that's free to join, and I go live every week and I give parenting tips, and we have a community that helps each other. So that's a really fun place to be. And again, if anyone wants to contact me, I'm there, and you can message me. I have a website called Leah Miller Parenting, and you can reach out. My email is leahmillerparenting@gmail.com, and I would be happy to hear from everyone. And again, would love to see new members in our group and just interacting with the other moms in our group.
Thank you so much, Leah. You radiate love and connection and the calmness. And I believe that this is exactly what we need in order to be able to grow into that environment and help our children grow into that environment. I love that so much. Thank you so much for your mission and for helping so many people. I am honored to have you here, and thank you once again.
Thank you. It's been an honor to be with you.
And for those of you who are out there, contact Leah, because she is going to be there to help you and support you in your path. Stay connected because there is so much more to come.